Hey everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts back once again with another reaction for you guys. Today guys, of course, we are continuing the journey of the Batman. This is the Batman Season 2 Episode 7, titled Meltdown. I'm curious to see why this is titled Meltdown. It's an interesting title for sure. Can't wait to get into this episode as always. Last week's episode, Episode 6, of course, titled Pets, was interesting. A very interesting concept. They pulled it off pretty damn well. But let's be honest, the villain of that episode wasn't Penguin using that sonar device to control Man-Bat. It was the raccoon that broke in to the Batcave. That was the true villain. Because right at the moment where Batman took that broken device that was used to control birds, that ultimately, that was what Penguin was trying to get. And then, of course, the owl took the other one controlling bats. Of course, Man-Bat, of course, being brought into the mix and all that kind of stuff. Crazy, I know, but they pulled it up pretty damn well. I mean, this show is pretty crazy at times, so it overall worked. But when Batman repaired to match the same sonar frequency that Penguin had with that other device to control Man-Bat for his own, to stop Man-Bat and to control him instead of Penguin controlling Man-Bat, the raccoon shut down all the power in the Batcave, so Alfred could actually not help. So that was the true villain of last week's episode. But it brought up something that I haven't really thought of before, is that what if animals get into the Batcave? Of course, we know there are bats within the Batcave, but in terms of like a raccoon, something I never would have thought of, but the fact that they addressed it in this episode, and Bruce is like, maybe we should have some sort of more barriers or something to kind of prevent this from happening again, because if that raccoon didn't show up and wasn't in the Batcave, the episode would have ended a lot faster. But I'm guessing they had to make a point to address this because it's something that maybe would be brought up at some point and say, well, what if there's an animal that gets in here that shouldn't get in here and it destroys everything or messes up stuff, takes down the power? So interestingly enough, they addressed that. So yeah, so it's been a crazy a couple episodes for sure within season 2, but I'm liking the direction the show is going. The show's done a great job overall with just telling its story, and I'm curious to see what they do with this next episode, Meltdown, to see what that's all referring to. So here you go, guys, let's get into now episode 7, season 2 of the Batman, Meltdown. Let's go.
All right, Joker.
All right, man.
Time for your medicine.
Medicine?
Not the kind of medicine that I had in mind.
Oh my god.
Either I'm crazy or
I mean, you're crazy, but
it's payback
crap.
time, Joker.
Okay, good dodge. That was Bruce? Okay. Joker, you could... Oh my god, he's saving him. I mean, that makes sense.
I'm here to help you.
Oh. Okay. Ice. Smart. I think it's ice. Yeah. He took his costume. Oh my god.
Defense calls Detective Ellen Yin.
Oh. Okay, court.
Detective, your former partner...
Detective Bennett was also kidnapped by Joker.
And
He was
turned.
subjected to intense psychological torment.
Yep.
Strange. Professor Hugo Strange. I am a senior resident at Arkham Asylum.
Traumas he suffered in the line of duty.
Precisely. A temporary insanity, if you will. I've since had...
We've been unable to devise a cure for Mr. Bennett's affliction. However,
No
we've
going
learned that
back.
each time Bennett uses his morphic abilities...
I'm prepared to offer Ethan a job today as head of security
job.
for Wayne Industries.
Interesting. Okay, good. That's good, man. They all hug it out. That's good.
First day,
That's
Ethan.
good.
Are you nervous?
It must be nice. Nice? Yeah, having
getting a
dude with your
job.
buddy, you know.
Yeah.
Make your mistakes.
Clayface. They should never let him out.
Oh my god.
Him, isn't it?
Oh, whoa.
Rojas?
Uh-oh.
Go for it, bro.
He changed people.
Idiot! You want to end up back in the cell?
I mean,
all those months?
he was afraid to confront him.
This is likely the beginning of yet another Joker crime spree.
Yeah, that's gonna make him go, I gotta go after Joker, you know?
Right with you, Doc.
Look at him, Joker stuff. Uh-oh. What the hell's that?
Detective.
Hey!
Or should I say, night watchman?
Of course. Oh my god.
Tell me these are...
He has to use his powers. He has to. Oh my god.
Joker!
Yep. He's, breaking his, Of course he is.
Means I'm gonna chop you down to size.
Can you imagine if he actually killed Joker? Giant stilts, basically.
TFN. Ta-ta for now. almost had Joker.
Who almost had Joker? Don't you take no risk here, Bennett.
Yes.
It's about making sure what Joker did to me never happens to anyone else.
Yeah.
Can you understand that?
Yeah, yeah. Nice transition. That was cool. That was cool.
Dr. Desmond showed me your test results. You could pass the point of no return.
I slipped. For a second. It won't
Well,
happen again.
I'm not speaking
It
as your
will.
boss, Ethan.
And Joker's coming. Yep.
Destiny.
He's gonna sneak in there, isn't he? With that jacket on. Oh. 99. Okay, you're not gonna set the alarm off? Seriously? Alright.
There's gold in their heels.
Joker. That's great. He hit the alarm. And Ben, of course, is not there. He's gone to go find Joker.
Joker!
Here he comes.
Clayface!
Hi!
Critter I was hoping to see.
Struggling with your inner demon again, Bennett?
Not this time.
Oh,
The
you
only
just
spot
gave
in
up?
Wayne Industries with
They're gonna kind of work together, it seems. No fair.
one. Guess it's time we settle our differences.
What does that
Your
mean?
enemy, Bennett.
Exactly.
You're the only one I see standing between me.
That's the Clay talking, Bennett.
How do you know where Bennett ends and Clayface begins?
How do... Interesting question. That's a good question. Oh, it didn't work that time.
Saw that coming?
Holy crap.
Chip off the old block.
Uh-oh.
Go on, son. Take a little.
Son.
Son? I made you who you are. Said so yourself. Besides, crime pays more. So come to Papa. Join Team Joker. Clayface works alone. Wait,
Yeah.
what about my...
Wait, what about...
Whoa. Yeah, and you wouldn't shoot your old partner, would you?
Don't believe it.
Didn't know you
Don't believe it.
collected modern art.
Look, here's the problem as I see it.
He's turning back.
Being Ethan Bennett is hard. Really.
Maybe if he revealed himself
Clayface.
to Bennett, maybe?
Now step aside or I'll mash you both. Mash anyone who gets in my way. Didn't expect that from you, Yin.
We've really lost him this time, haven't we, Wayne?
Yep.
Ethan's past the point of no return.
Yeah, exactly. This episode kind of ended on a sad note in a sense because Bennett, Ethan, he is truly gone now. It is just Clayface. And I was thinking when he's slowly starting to turn back and he's giving that speech to Yin and Batman, if Bruce was to unmask himself and to reveal that he is there and he's not talking to just the Batman, he's talking to his best friend who tried so hard to help him, maybe that would have stopped, but maybe it was too late. Maybe it wouldn't have done anything because, see, Bennett at first, when he was first captured and they're on trial and everything, which I'll get to that surprise there in the trial, but it's like, okay, so they've been spending months testing his abilities as Clayface and trying to figure out if they can turn him back, if they can fix the thing. And it's a unique situation because I don't think it's ever happened before, so they have no way of knowing how to fix this. So Bruce tries to help him, and then ultimately, of course, Joker, of course, gets out around the same time. The very beginning of the episode, of course, Bennett goes in there pretending to be somebody else. I guess Bruce was tracking Bennett there to Arkham Asylum. I'm not really sure because literally because Ethan was portraying that guy we've seen in Arkham before who goes around to all the different cells or whatever. We've seen him a couple different times. And Bruce is there in a disguise, and then, of course, he changed to the bat suit. So I guess he was tracking Bennett or figured something was going to happen. I have no idea. No idea why he was there. But regardless, I thought it was interesting that he was there. And then, of course, Joker escapes, and he throws this, like, little capsule of some sort of ice mechanism that can then just freeze Bennett over so he cannot break out of it. Interesting. So Bennett gets released, and I'm like, okay, this is probably not going to end well, probably because, of course, he's going to use his abilities again, and of course he does, because of Joker, and goes against him and everything, and we'll get to some of those sequences in a second, but I thought it was interesting that they went the direction of, they didn't give Bennett a happy ending, at least for now. Maybe he'll return again, I have no idea, but maybe he will, but he truly is now gone down that dark path, which we'll get to more in a minute. So that was interesting how they ended the episode for sure. I was quite surprised, but then again, I'm like, I like the fact they took that route of it not being really a happy ending for this character, because realistically, he should have had a happy ending, because he ultimately was a good guy at first, and everything just kind of fell apart, and just the torture from Joker, all that kind of stuff just kind of turned him, and then he tried to go that villain route for a second, and then of course he gets captured. But I think he'll pop up again. Could be wrong. But overall, enjoyed the episode. I really did. So in the trial, Hugo Strange was there. I was like, what? This is how they introduce Hugo Strange into this world? Interesting, though. It was very interesting because Hugo Strange is like, well, I can't speak on his body in terms of his transformative abilities, but I can say that he's of sound and, mind or whatever. Like he's better, or, like, how do you know, though? I mean, he could have been, but once he runs into Joker again, everything kind of changes back to the way it was. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that was interesting that we had Hugo Strange vouching for Bennett. So I think we have to see him again. That could not be a one and done. Okay, Arkham Asylum is too important to the Gotham, like to Gotham City and to the Batman mythos. So I'm assuming Hugo Strange is going to pop up again. He has to. If he doesn't, then it's a crime against this show. Anyways, moving on. So Bennett gets a job, and then of course everyone else, part of the security team at Wayne Industries, is against Bennett for getting this job, and say, how does it feel to have a billionaire friend who can just get you out of trouble? I mean, yeah, he offered him the job. Ultimately, I mean, Ethan had to prove, and in court, it wasn't just Bruce's testimony. It was also everyone else kind of talking about his abilities and everything, and saying that the torture that he endured through Joker was really the ultimate reason why everything kind of just fell apart for Ethan, in terms of why he was using his transformative abilities to not necessarily do good, but basically just to fight back against Joker and everything, and causing mayhem. And of course the whole thing with Captain Rojas or whatever. So that was a whole thing. So interesting how we saw a trial in this episode. I think that was a nice little touch, because it literally, they could have found a way to kind of bypass that and just kind of talk about the after effects and not really show it, but they spent some time on that for sure. But I'm glad they didn't spend too much time, because it might have gotten boring. But I think that they showed it because it's important to the narrative for them to explain and to show the different people talking about him, and then him getting out, of course, and being let go on probation to some extent. So he has to turn back into Clayface because he's going against Joker, and the Clay is basically just enticing him to, come out and everything. And because they make a point where Batman's like, "That's not you, Ethan, talking. That's the Clay. That's Clayface talking." And then the question about, how do you know where Ethan ends and Clayface begins? That is a great question. Like, something I never would have thought of. Like, well, how do we know that? We actually really don't know where one thing ends and one thing begins. But I thought it was really smart to ask that question, and for the question to be posed in the first place. And that's a good point. I think it's like a blurred line, if you will, because if Ethan had turned into Clayface and he wasn't tortured by Joker for all that amount of time, and basically was just in a very different mental state when he was turned into Clayface, maybe there would be a clear distinction, or maybe that he wouldn't be like he is now, where he was like slowly just turning into the villain over time. I don't know. But the whole sequence where Joker has these gigantic mechanical stilts that he was wearing, and he slams them all the way to the ground when he's up in the air. And then we have Ethan, of course, Clayface, using a giant version of those stilts as well, was a really funny visual moment for sure, because it just goes to show with Joker especially, he literally will just have any of these weird gadgets that just don't make sense. But for Joker, it makes a certain amount of sense because it's Joker. Any other villain, okay, let's say Penguin or Riddler in this world had those mechanical stilts, it would have looked weird as hell. But the fact that it's Joker, and it makes some sort of sense. Like, yeah, that makes kind of sense that, Joker would have that. And that line he had when he shot up, grabbed those gold like designs or whatever, like the stars or whatever. He's like, they're gold in them there hills. Just like the more I see this version of Joker on this show, the more I like this version of Joker. Like, I liked him when they first introduced him, of course, in the first episode of the series, but over time I've just grown to really appreciate more of this Joker because it's so unique. The voice is unique, and just some of the things that Joker does are just so funny. In the elevator, inside the elevator shaft area, having Batman and Clayface and Joker all there. And then at one point, Clayface and Batman actually stopped Joker for a second when hitting those stilts with a batarang and some clay. I was like, well, they're teaming up, kinda. And then, of course, Batman doesn't want to team up Clayface. Clayface, okay, whatever. And then, of course, he's holding Batman down. And I'm thinking at that point, maybe Bruce reveals himself. But then there's Joker right there. So that would kind of, that would really change a lot of things if Joker found out who Batman was. And Ethan, I think he's overall a smart guy. He didn't piece it together that maybe I know who this guy is, because how did Batman get here so fast? Because he was already in the building first. So I don't know, but I guess that wasn't important because there was too much going on. I mean, look, the guy who created him, Joker, is right over here. And even Joker says, well, oh, my son. It's like, son. It's like, well, I created you. You said it. I created you. Like, come to dad. I'm your papa. Come to Team Joker. And of course, that wasn't going to work. But Clayface is like, what? Like, of course, Joker is going to embrace the fact that he's your father. He's going to embrace that because I like how in the beginning, too, he completely played off, and of course, it's a Joker thing. He played it off like he had no idea who Clayface was. Like, I don't know who you are. Of course he knows who it is. But then he's like, wait, Bennett, you're Clayface? How didn't you piece that together earlier, Joker? How could you not have pieced that together? Because, no, I think he actually ran away, or no, he was standing there, but he didn't realize that Ethan injected that stuff to turn him into Clayface. So maybe it just didn't really connect to him. He had no idea. Because when he said the whole thing to Yen, he's like, you don't know what this stuff does to humans. And he's like, well, actually, I really don't know what this would do to humans. So he had no clue either. So maybe it makes sense that he didn't know that it was the same person. But still, once you realize, like, oh, my son, I created you. It's like, Joker, calm down. And Joker's still on the loose. Wait. Yeah. Because Ethan was they captured Ethan, so Joker's still on the loose somewhere, of course, so we'll see him again at some point. But overall, I enjoyed the episode. As I see Yen again in this episode a little bit, as I've noticed the past number of episodes, she's not appeared at all. I think the last episode she was in before this one was the Mr. Freeze and Firefly episode. So it was interesting to see her pop up again after a couple episodes of just being MIA. So that was kind of interesting, and I'm glad they brought her back. So I like her character. I do like her character. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed my reaction. I'm curious to know what you thought about this episode, guys. I'm curious to know your thoughts. Whatever thoughts you have, guys, let me know in the comments below. I will talk to you guys soon. Peace out.